Dominik Hasek is one of the greatest goalies in NHL history. A two-time Stanley Cup champion whose unorthodox style revolutionized the position.
Here's Gonchar! In! Oates! Oh, rebound! It stayed out! How did that stay out?
And yet, his career almost never happened. On multiple occasions.
The I saw this guy do and pull, he's not a great dude at all.
So how did a third-string, late-round draft pick from a country that doesn't even exist anymore become one of the most feared players at his position? It's time to put Dominik Hasek into focus. Dominik Hasek's resume speaks for itself. A two-time Hart Trophy winner, 6 Vezina trophies, throw in an Olympic gold medal. But he was an afterthought early in his career. As a child in his native Czechoslovakia behind the communist Iron Curtain, Hasek had a burning desire to stop goals, not score them. What's harder to believe is that from age 6 to 25, Hasek never had a goalie coach. He learned all on his own.
Dominik Hasek, goaltender tonight, 21-year-old, plays for Pardubice.
Translation: Hasek could develop his own style of goaltending.
Nemchinov in front takes the shot and Hasek makes the save.
Hasek enjoyed moderate success as a junior goaltender and caught the eye of NHL clubs in 1983.
He's an excellent goalkeeper. Probably the future of their national team will depend upon Hasek. He's got some great skills.
Since teams were hesitant to draft players from communist bloc countries, Hasek wasn't a first-round pick. Instead, the Chicago Blackhawks took a flyer on him in the 1983 NHL draft. 10th round, 199th overall, the 17th goaltender selected. Hasek didn't even know he'd been selected until months later. Like many Eastern Bloc countries at the time, players were either ordered or stayed in their native homelands rather than play in North America. Hasek was content playing in Czechoslovakia. It wasn't until the fall of communism that Hasek decided to try the NHL in 1990, at age 25, 7 years after he was drafted.
Here's a centering pass. Great save by Hasek. Again, the quick feet of Dominik Hasek.
He notched his first win on March 8, 1991, ironically over the Buffalo Sabres. With the Blackhawks organization, Hasek hoped to be a starter, but found himself backing up an emerging star.
Beacon is in, he shoots, Belfort diving to his right.
Even his goaltending coach, Vladislav Tretiak, someone Hasek idolized as a kid, didn't pay much attention to him. According to Hasek, he was more just like only Ed Belfour's goalie coach because they were so close. He wasn't working with him on an everyday basis. Further complicating matters, the Blackhawks preferred up-and-coming prospect Jimmy Waite as Belfour's backup. Despite being overlooked, Hasek waited for any chance to stand out.
Now playing goal for Chicago, number 31, Dominik Hasek.
He got that in Game 4 of the '92 Cup Finals after Belfour allowed 2 goals on 4 shots.
Lemieux in on goal against Hasek. He shoots at Hasek, robs him again.
The Blackhawks lost the Stanley Cup, but Hasek's 21-save performance caught the attention of the Buffalo Sabres. On August 7, 1992, while headed to the movies in Czechoslovakia, Hasek received a phone call from his agent, Rich Winter. Hasek had been traded to the Buffalo Sabres, a move that he said later on, completely, but not right away, changed my hockey career and my life. I didn't expect what was going to happen to me over the next few years in Buffalo. With the Sabres, Hasek met goalie coach Mitch Korn. Korn didn't try to change Hasek's style, he worked on enhancing it.
He was one of the first guys to learn how to seal the ice. And so you talk about snow angels and some of the things that he did. It was all calculated.
Hasek went on to say about Korn, I was lucky to get this goalie coach who never really tried to change my style. But the odds were still stacked against Hasek. Initially, he backed up Grant Fuhr and was even left exposed in the 1993 expansion draft. What might have happened if Hasek went to Anaheim or Florida instead of staying in Buffalo? Would this Hall of Fame career even have happened? It took an injury to Fuhr in the 93-94 season for Hasek to get his chance, and the legend of the Dominator was born.
Again, and over the line, the pass is shot. Oh! Hasek scores!
The unorthodox style he developed and Hasek's super competitive mentality carried him to a 195 goals against average that season, with 7 shutouts and a .930 save percentage, winning his first Vezina trophy. He followed that up with another Vezina in 94-95. But the wheels fell off in the 1996-1997 season. Hasek, the star goaltender, was feuding with his head coach, Ted Nolan, all season long. A clash of personalities that came to a head in Game 3 of the Sabres playoff series versus Ottawa. In Game 3, Hasek removed himself in the second period, suffering a mild MCL sprain. He was listed as day-to-day. But some teammates and media speculated Hasek was using the injury to bail on his team.
Later on that night, him and Frank Musil were caught running out of the arena. Running! Jim Kelly saw him.
The next day, Hall of Fame columnist Jim Kelly wrote an article detailing Hasek's injury, his feud with Nolan, and if he had the mental toughness to be an NHL goaltender. After losing in Game 5, Kelly approached Hasek for an interview, which led the netminder to scream profanities and physically attack the columnist, ripping his shirt off before they were separated. Hasek received a 3-game suspension, a $10,000 fine, and issued a formal apology. The damage had been done. GM John Muckler, who was also feuding with Nolan, had the backing of his star goaltender. At the 1997 NHL Awards, after winning his first Hart Trophy and 3rd Vezina, Hasek said in an interview that it would perhaps be better for me if he, Nolan, didn't come back next season. The Sabres were in an unwinnable situation, so they cleaned house. Sort of. They fired Muckler, the reigning executive of the year. They offered Nolan, the reigning Jack Adams Trophy winner, a 1-year extension. Offended, Nolan turned it down and left the organization, much to the dismay of fans and players, who directed their anger at the last person standing. Winger Matthew Barnaby was loyal to Ted Nolan.
Dom is by far, in my opinion, the best goaltender to ever fucking play the game. To me, there's no one even close. And I fucking hate the guy. The worst teammate ever. Ever. Hardest worker on the ice. But no, I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire.
At the start of the 97-98 season, his home fans turned against him, booing so loudly arena workers had to pump in crowd cheering audio to balance out the noise. Now, Hasek could have quit or asked for a trade, but that's not his MO. Hasek has always been super competitive and determined to succeed. He focused on what he could control, stopping the puck.
Hasek's got that one! Oh boy! Showtime!
In December, he set the modern-day NHL record with 6 shutouts in a month. He then parlayed that into a gold medal in Nagano in February. He set a Sabres franchise mark of 13 shutouts in a season in 97-98, en route to his 4th Vezina and 2nd Hart Trophy, becoming the first goaltender in NHL history to win the MVP award twice. Hasek would eventually move on from Buffalo, piling up wins and capturing 2 Stanley Cups with the Red Wings.
And Hasek gets his first Stanley Cup with the help of Yzerman and all these Red Wings.
And while he had his critics for what happened in Buffalo, he also had admirers. Chris Osgood left Detroit because Hasek took his job in 2001. But then ironically became the starter in 2008 with Hasek as his backup when the Wings captured the Stanley Cup. Osgood would say in hindsight, "I could have taken my game to the next level if I would have stayed and played with him. We pushed each other in practice. We had a lot of fun times in practice. I didn't know him until I played with him. Now I would say he was one of my favorite partners I ever played with." His resume speaks for itself. 389 career wins, a .922 lifetime save percentage, tops in the NHL, inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2014, and named one of the NHL's 100 greatest players of all time. A career that almost never happened if circumstances had gone the other way.